A black liquid was evenly sprayed across my entire body. The liquid quickly hardened, instantly turning into some kind of high-tech material. Armor was then installed around my joints. All that was left was to add the helmet, and an emergency lightweight spacesuit would be complete. But what terrified me was that the helmet had not finished forming when my hibernation pod was suddenly ejected. I looked back. I saw the main ship get hit by a meteor and explode. That was when all the astronauts were launched out in an emergency. In the chaos, most of the pods were destroyed on impact. A small number, like mine, were lucky enough and were sent flying toward a planet below. But because the pod was falling too fast and I had no helmet, the pod began to increase pressure. Just as I was about to suffocate, the pod AI system activated. It immediately began manufacturing the helmet. Once the helmet was successfully installed, I barely survived. But before I could relax, the AI system reported that due to the rapid descent, the surface temperature of the pod had far exceeded its design limits. Watching pods around me explode one after another, I became tense again. Thankfully, the very next second, the pod entered the planet's atmosphere. Because the planet was extremely cold, the pod temperature finally returned to normal. But the bad news was that the extreme cold caused a failure in the fuel system. The pod headed straight toward the ground. Luckily, the pod was strong enough, and I was not injured. After waking up, I immediately opened communications and tried to contact other survivors, but received no response. At that moment, the AI detected a crack underground and told me to leave immediately. But just as I was about to climb out, the soil beneath the pod suddenly loosened, causing it to tip over. I fell back into the pod. Even worse, during the fall, my suit was cut by the edge of the pod, and oxygen began leaking rapidly. On this unfamiliar planet dominated by carbon dioxide, oxygen was life itself. Terrified, I quickly sealed the suit with liquid adhesive. Even so, only 40% of the oxygen remained. I struggled to climb out of the pod. Then, I began praying the main ship had survived. But the next second, a streak of fire fell from the sky. It was the main ship. I stared at the scene in disbelief.